All right, JMC Garage here for this week's JMC Garage video, and I'm your host John, and I have with me my neighbor Gabe Cleve. Hey Gabe, how's it going? Awesome. And the reason why we're doing this video is we have in front of us his 2001, in fact, let me kind of turn it around, his 2001, oh yes, there we go, GMC Suburban. And the issue we're having with this Suburban, well, let me show you. It's actually a GMC Yukon XL, but his gauge cluster is dead. I mean, it shows the service engine shooting light is now flashing, the check engine oil level, and there's some other things, but he doesn't see what his miles are. His gas gauge is not working. There's a couple other gauges in here that aren't working as well. Does your speedo work? Speedo works, but his gas gauge doesn't work, and you can no longer see what his miles are. So he doesn't even know the exact mileage. I think he said the last time you checked it was about
250 or something like that. Yeah.
250.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him the camera, and we are going to review today the Ancel Diagnosing Issues with Ease, the AD410. Now what this does is, and I want to thank Ancel for giving this, or for letting me have this to review. What we're going to be able to do with this diagnostic tool is we're going to figure out, number one, exactly how many miles are on his Suburban. Number two, find out why the check engine light's on and why it's flashing right now. We just did a cold start on it, sitting there running right now. And then finally, number three, what it might take to get his gauge cluster working again, get full functionality. I think what needs to be done is that gauge cluster probably needs to be ripped out and a whole new gauge pod needs to be put in. I know they make rebuilt ones, and I know you can get them off of, I don't know about Amazon, but you'll probably get them off of probably eBay and stuff like that for a couple $100. But let's go ahead and plug this in and figure out what's going on with his Suburban. All right, OBD2 plug-in port is right down here on this 01 Suburban. It is already connected, and we got some heat going in here, which is nice. It's about 30 degrees outside. What's nice about this thing is I can actually go through and do several different setups. I'm going to go into OBD2 mode. It's going to read what the vehicle is, and it already comes up. So it tells me that there's 4 diagnostic trouble codes stored in the computer, and let's see, there's a couple other things that we're going to enter into. So let's enter. I'm going to read the codes. I'm going to figure out what's going on. So first code, in fact there's 5 of them. Number 1, the O2 sensor heater circuit bank 2 sensor 1 is reading out. Let's see what else we got. P01, so the first one was P0155. The second one is P0171, system 2 lean for bank 1 pump, because it can't read the O2 sensor. So you probably need an O2 sensor. P0174, system 2 lean on bank number 2. All right. P0300, multiple cylinder misfires detected. Wow, interesting. Doesn't sound like it's misfiring now. It actually is running pretty smooth, so we may be able to clear that code. See if it comes back. That code is in there twice, so let's go ahead and go back. We can erase a lot of these codes. Clear and reset codes. Well, let's do it. Please turn off engine ignition. Please turn ignition on with engine off and press enter key. Processing. Information has been cleared. Enter. All right. And we are back, and it has actually cleared the codes. Now, I don't see the check engine light flashing, but it's still reading low fuel, and I still don't have anything coming up on the gauge cluster. So what we're going to do now is I can go into data stream, hit enter. I can view all items, and right now it's reading Hold on. You hear that? Almost sounds like it was misfiring at idle. All right, let's continue. So I can read a lot of the data that it's doing. Engine coolant temperature is now at 118. Let's see, I can do short trim fuel bank, long trim fuel bank. Manifold absolute pressure, that's reading fine. It tells me engine RPMs right now, it's hovering at about 600 RPMs. Ignition timing advance at 18 degrees. It was spiking up to 24, but intake air temperature sensor, 35 degrees. I can do throttle position. That's responding. Oxygen sensor. Oh. It almost died there. It is getting some voltage from the oxygen sensor, so oxygen sensor output is 0. So you do need an oxygen sensor. The output of that is actually 0. So it is getting voltage, but it's not outputting voltage back to the computer. All right, so that is probably why it's running a little bit rough right now. Short trim fuel. Oh, oxygen sensor output for bank 2, 0. So you need 2 oxygen sensors. And this engine, being a 5.3 V8, has one on the left bank and one on the right bank on each manifold, at the end of the manifold. So it looks like you need 2 oxygen sensors. What's awesome about this tool is I can look at the values and the trims and see exactly what's going on. I can see that both sensors are not putting out the voltage back to the computer. Even though the computer is sending voltage to them, they're not receiving the voltage back. So very cool for analysis and everything else. I can look at some other, we're not going to go too much into it. It is kind of cold. Let's go back. Let's go back, and then I'm going to read the code, see if any new codes came up. No new codes yet. All right, so anyway, this has been my quick review of the Ancel AD410 and kind of diagnosing what is going on. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Oh man, totally forgot to do that. Let's go ahead. This is what you get when you come with the GMC Garage video. Everything's live. All right. I wanted to get the current mileage that the computer is reading, and this will actually tell me the current mileage. So let's go look into that real quick. Enter. We're going to data stream. Enter. Let's do a select item. I can select certain items to look at. And actually, okay, let's go back. Select item. So I can look at, I don't have to look at everything. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. There's so much information in this thing. It's pretty cool. Almost there. Almost there. Well, let's go back. Let's do enter, because I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. And maybe this doesn't have the opportunity to do it. Okay. Never mind then, I can't look at the mileage. So I had this hooked up to the Explorer, and the Explorer gave me a lot more information. Of course, that computer's a lot more advanced than the one in the 2001 Suburban. But this does give me plenty of information. Right now, my engine coolant temperature is up to 138. So, all right. I can't get you the exact mileage, unfortunately, Gabe. But I think what this thing needs, more than anything besides 2 new oxygen sensors, is it's going to need a new gauge cluster, unfortunately. Now, those can be rebuilt, or you could send it in to get it rebuilt, or he can get one ordered from like eBay or something like that. They are a couple $100, and it doesn't take that much to get to this gauge cluster. In fact, this whole trim piece here, this actually detaches, and there's a couple bolts that hold this in, plus a wiring connection. We can have this thing out in a half hour, have a new one in, and bet you back on the road if you wanted to do that. But it's up to you. He has another Suburban sitting in the garage, so this kind of is tow, runabout, just beat up Suburban that he loves to use. Anyway, awesome. So let me go flip this back around. So anyway, this has been a quick review of the Ancel AD410. Yes, the AD410 diagnosis, repair, kind of OBD2 reader. And it was great. We found out some information. What do you think about it?
It's good. Glad maybe we can fix some things.
Yeah. So we definitely need some oxygen sensors. It was running a little bit rough at idle, as you could probably hear, was kind of hesitating a little bit. And after I revved it up, it almost wanted to die. Then it came back. But if the computer's not reading what the oxygen is in the exhaust, it's not going to be able to do the fuel trims correctly. So it's kind of running off a base trim just to keep the engine alive. All right, well, this has been JMC Garage. If you guys have any questions, comments, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I upload every single Saturday afternoon, or sometimes upload during the weekend. If you want, you can get a hold of those things if you subscribe and hit the bell notification. Awesome. You guys be blessed. Thank you, Gabe, for allowing me to use your vehicle. And again, tune in for much more footage and videos to come. Be blessed.